Alors, nous sommes ici dans le booth de The Foundry. Pour ceux qui ne connaissent pas The Foundry, ils font des plugins pour After Effects, entre autres, qui s'appellent Tinderbox. Donc, si vous avez fait un petit peu de compositing dans votre vie sur After Effects, vous avez peut-être déjà utilisé des plugins Tinderbox 1, 2, 3 et maintenant 4. Sur les plus grosses plateformes, comme les plateformes Autodesk, par exemple, il existe aussi une série de plugins qui s'appelle Furnace. Eh bien, la grande nouveauté au NAB cette année, Furnace est maintenant disponible pour les Pro Apps. Alors, on va en parler avec notre ami de The Foundry. Alors, je suis ici avec notre ami Jack de The Foundry et on va parler de Furnace. So, a lot of our users are not familiar with Furnace. So, why don't you tell us a little bit of where it comes from before coming to the Final Cut platform?
Okay, well, Furnace came out about Furnace 1 was probably 2000, 2001. It was largely involved with setting up certain common tasks in the film world, which are very time-consuming. We worked with a lot of the London post houses putting together these applications to begin with, and over the years I've progressed up to about the level of Furnace 4, which is some 30-odd plugins on some of the hosts. We've now adapted some of the more common uses for them and move them across to the Final Cut platform. Generally the sort of thing that you find editors wanting to do, such as retiming and dust busting, that sort of thing.
Just so our users know, what kind of platforms is Furnace running on right now?
There's a whole host of them. Well, Shake obviously was kind of the first one, Flame, Flint, Fire, Inferno, Smoke, Nuke via the OFX platform. All the other OFX hosts have certain degrees of Furnace implemented on them. There's been little bits put out there on DS. Adobe licensed Furnace from us for use inside After Effects natively. I think that's about the lot.
So basically, having it in Final Cut was the last big frontier. So tell me how the port will work. Is it an FX plug or is it FX script? What are you using?
We're using FX Plug. I think we're one of the few guys to have actually really got stuck into the FX Plug platform now. So that's been quite an interesting time.
So does that mean it will also work in Motion?
We're not officially supporting Motion to begin with. I don't think some of the current alpha version that we're showing here is very much a development build. I don't believe that one does. Hopefully we'll have a chance to try and get that working before we release.
Let's check it out.
Sounds good. Sorry, do you want to grab a seat?
Okay. All right.
Okay, so first up we're going to look at Kronos, which is the retimer built into Furnace. It's kind of the fundamental application of optical flow, which is largely what Furnace is built around. Generally, what you're looking at is trying to get a clean retime based on motion vectors from the source image. Over here, we're going to look at a couple of clips. You can see here we've got some motion, foreground across background, and then if we play the same guy back over here, you can see how we're getting a much slower movement there. The actual control panel, we should see over here. You can see pretty much exactly the same control panel that you see in all other hosts, so if you're coming from a Shake background or something like that, you should be able to easily shift across to using this one. You have a couple of different options for controlling speed. You can either do it I say I want this on half speed, or you can actually retime based on source frames. And if you need a quick setup, you can actually go by and just do frame blending if you need to set up something very quickly. Okay, an obvious application of that as well is adding vector-based motion blur. You can do that straight within Kronos or within the separate split-out motion blur tool down here. And if we look over at this shot here, you can see car foreground across background. Let's get this playing. So you can see we can just add in a whole bunch of extra motion blur in there. So that's Kronos and the retime tools. Next up, the other tools which people are telling us they use day in, day out are the grain management. It's a little tricky to show and it may not come out on camera, but essentially what the grain management tools allow you to do is remove and duplicate grain, and that means you can push your grades further, try and match elements within a sequence or a comp, and generally obtain much more filmic results. So if we go over here, we'll pop up the denoise. Now denoise is a temporal degrainer, so again it uses motion estimation, motion vectors. By default, it'll try and find a flat region of colour for you, and use that as its reference for trying to remove grain. If we have a look in here, we should be able to see exactly what's going on here, and we can just toggle this guy off and then back on again, so you can see what's going on in there.
Can you just toggle it again?
Yes, sure. Here we go. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So there we go, we've got some grain coming in down here. And there we go. Give it a little bit of time. There we go. He's knocked them out. And that'll also do for noise that you see brought in on some video streams. So if you've got some chroma noise or some sort of blocky artifacting, because that's on a frame variant basis, it won't be able to track it between those. You'll find it starts removing that sort of thing for you as well.
So tell me how it handles video noise or video compression artifacts.
Well, essentially what denoise is looking for is a region of colour from which to sample what it thinks of as noise. So if you specify a region where you see some of this noise artifacting coming in, if it then finds similar signatures elsewhere in the image, you'll find it starting to remove those for you. And obviously if you've removed it, you then want to re-implement it at the end. At the minute, this is regrain over here. Oops. Here we go. So we've got a bunch of preset film stocks that we scanned in the office for you guys, and you can just apply those on. At the minute, there's no grain sampling from another plate. This is something we hope to put in before we release.
So theoretically, you could sample, let's say you're doing video compositing, anybody shooting with a camera like this, doing green screen footage and comping that on 3D animation, you could theoretically scan the noise from the video tap and then apply that to the comp.
Exactly, and that's exactly the sort of application you'd be using it for. Next up, the dust busting tool. Now, this looks at automating one of the most painful tasks in the film world, which is that frame-by-frame dust and speck removal. It's a two-pass tool. What it tries to do is it attempts to model the motion within the source sequence, and it looks for images which are parts of the image which appear in only a single frame, tags those as possible there, then runs that through a second pass, which is a spatial pass, to see if both those detectors tag them, then you've got and it tries to repair them using both motion estimated information and information from the local frame. You have a variety of controls, obviously, for different aggression levels, and you can specify what you want out, so you can actually get masks out of it as well as to where it's repaired. So let's have a look at this. Let me just play it through. So you can see quite a noisy clip. If we play it through again, it's got rid of pretty much all of that for us. I'll just set that going. And there you have it. Very neat.
Nice.
If you have infrared pass off like a film scanner or something like that, you can feed that in as well, and use that for figuring out where the motion lives, where the dirt lives. Right. Next up, flicker removal. This is a pretty common problem. In this particular case, we're going to see. Obviously, it doesn't look great on a still shot, but if we apply deflicker, this is based on deflicker 2 out of the Shake package. So it's one of the newer deflickers, particularly powerful. Invented by a very intelligent French bloke who came over and worked in the office for a bit. So let's play this guy back. You can see we have some really nasty lighting flicker in the background there, and just applying deflicker has done a great deal to remove that. There's obviously a little artifact up there which we're going to look at in the development tree. So there we go. That's as easy as it. Just apply the effect, off it goes. Sorry.
So, and it will work on neons, on computer monitors flickering.
Exactly. Its main application is for high frequency flicker. Lower frequency flicker it won't do such a good job on, but high frequency, that's where it's really at. And that is the most difficult sort of thing to repair generally.
Would you consider flicker from a PAL to NTSC transfer high density flicker or low frequency flicker?
I'd say it might have a chance of doing that. I've not tried it myself, but yeah, that'd be interesting to see how that would work. Essentially, it's using up to about eight frames overall, and because you're doing a 25 to 29 conversion, there should be enough frame rate in there that it should be able to pick up the flicker.
Very cool.
Okay. Last up in this little set here, we have match grade. Now, match grade attempts to take the grade from one sequence and apply it to another completely automatically. The original intention behind it was that common problem where you've got shots from slightly different times of day. So you've gone off for lunch, actors had an hour and a half lunch, you come back, the lights change completely, and now you have to get a similar look so you can cut them together. Let's take this example here. We have one shot. Oh, yeah, frame at a time, Jack. Here's what grade we're going to try and match it to, so slightly less in the blue, and you can see what he's doing there, just knocking that up a bit. I've overcooked it a bit to make it obvious what's going on here. We actually found once it was created that it was rather more powerful than we thought, and let's say we take this guy, we want to give it this sort of look, and you can see exactly what's going on there, like so. So that is a brief tour of the tools available in Furnace on Final Cut.
So right now it's in alpha stage. What's the ETA on the release? What do you think?
Oh, how long's a piece of string? We've got a few problems to sort out. As you saw, there was the deflicker 2.1 and some temporal windowing type things. We'll put it out to a beta cycle, get a few people to try on a few different systems, obviously. So it really does depend on the feedback on that. But hopefully, a couple of months, say.
Alors, on a ici les plugins Furnace qui sont toutes sortes de plugins extrêmement importants quand on fait de la retouche d'image. Vous avez vu des plugins pour réduire le flicker, pour changer le grain, pour faire de la détection de grain, enlever le grain dans une image. On a vu que ça marche très bien avec le film, ça va aussi marcher avec la vidéo. Ça va continuer à s'améliorer jusqu'à temps qu'on réussisse à faire un release. Et il y a aussi le hue matching qui est très intéressant, qui va analyser la couleur dans une image et vous allez pouvoir l'appliquer automatiquement sur d'autres images. C'est des plugins extrêmement puissants, c'est des trucs qui coûtent très cher dans l'industrie. On peut s'attendre à ce que ça ait un coût assez élevé. Bien entendu, ça s'en vient bientôt. Si vous faites du compositing, si vous faites des trucs de très haut calibre, c'est des outils très intéressants qui peuvent se retrouver dans votre sac à dos d'outils préféré. Alors, The Furnace, The Foundry sur Final Cut Pro.